This video is commissioned by the beautiful folks at Endless. Hello. Today we're going to look at one of the most significant new tools for making music I've seen in years, and one that I think solves a common pitfall in music making software. Tim Exile's Endless. So this video is going to attempt to explain why I think Endless is particularly important to me. I also am going to show what it can do, using it as a kind of super looper in conjunction with loads of hardware. So Endless is, to vastly oversimplify it, a DAW. It's a DAW that just happens to run on your phone and iPad, but also your computer. I play instruments, I hit commit, I make music. You can make whole tracks on Endless using its built-in beats and bleaps. And if you have an audio input device for your phone, you can sample and loop hardware instruments and your microphone into it. And if you make tracks on your phone or your iPad, you can export all the individual stems and elements so that you can build a whole arrangement in your DAW, Ableton Live, what have you, if you prefer, thereby using this as a kind of ideas machine. Also, you can export your individual loops as a little movie if you just want to share them on social media. So it's an app that you make music with. Kind of sounds like I could be describing about a billion apps. But there is something very different going on here. One of the special things is that with Endless, you can invite friends to collaboratively make music with you. And no matter where they are in the world, you can be riffing off of one another, both in real time, where you're both plugged in and you can see the updates come in immediately, or you could start something and go to bed, and by the time you wake up, they've logged in and finished the track for you. Could be people you've met, people you haven't met, you can play together, and it really works. So Endless isn't just an iPhone or iPad app. There is a desktop version which is being kickstarted at the moment by Tim and the crew, and if the idea of a desktop version appeals to you, now will be the time to get stuck in because the deals are better than apparently they will ever be. And what will be particularly interesting about the desktop version of the app is that it brings all of the world of Endless to your secretly Irish home studio, aka your Paddy controllers. Or indeed any MIDI controller that you choose to map to it. You get all of the sort of capabilities and speed of this thing with a physical interface. And so this really begs the question, what is the music making joy of Endless? Why, Mylar, you hardware guy, make demo of app? Well, I'm into hardware for the exact same reason I'm into Endless. Because I want to make music as fast as possible. I've been rinsing the beta of Endless for over a year now, well over a year, and I think it genuinely offers one of the fastest brain-to-music interfaces of any music making system that I have tried. So in traditional linear and vertical workstation software, I find I have a sort of sprint mode, where early on in a project I work very quickly and excitedly and I'm writing part after part after part. But after the sprint is complete, and that's usually 1 or 2 evenings worth, I find that I often aimlessly pick away at the session that I've started, and I track back over things that I've already made, and I'm not progressing the arrangement anymore. Now, obviously this is a habit that I've picked up, and habits can be broken, but it is a very deeply ingrained habit for me, and I have found it very difficult to break. Because you can always track back so easily, you end up tweaking parts, tweaking the mix, tweaking earlier things you've done, and not focusing on, okay, that's that, what is next? The modular system that I have built is a reaction to this exact issue. I built it to literally make music by the seat of my pants in the moment, so that I had no choice other than to go, what's next? And now what's next? And now what's next? And actually create music in real time in front of a crowd. It's literally impossible for me to repeat anything. I cannot track back. I cannot fiddle with my MIDI notes on some previous part that I wrote, or be a perfectionist in any other way, as I do with the DAW. I have to progress, and I have to get into a flow state. Many of you will know that Tim Exile, who is behind Endless, built his own reactor ensemble, which he calls the Flow Machine. And the whole idea of the ensemble is that using MIDI controllers, he can improvise live music to a similar end. The Flow Machine, much like my live modular, was built to make you go, what's next? What's next? What's next? And so is Endless. Endless, by design, forces you to think only about what's next. You cannot help but add new parts or remix existing ones creatively. And there's a limit to the amount of parts that you can add so that the arrangement doesn't become bloated. You naturally end up mashing up, reimagining and remixing old parts until they become completely unrecognizable, and so the tune evolves. The interface is always presenting you with something that you can do interestingly to augment or remix what you're already hearing. And with each change, you hit commit and the change becomes baked in to audio. So you're not thinking about the mix or tweaking some parts beyond just adjusting level. You're writing, and you don't look back. When I make music on Endless, it makes me think of Rick James, aka Aphexy Twin of course, in the way that his tunes have this kind of wonderful story-like progression to them. It's not part A, then part B, then part A, then part B. It's part A leads to B, leads to C, leads to D, leads to E, and so on. And at the end of it, you're in a completely different place to where you began. You've gone on a musical journey and every turn made sense. That's what Endless does for me, in a way that no other musical tool, aside from my modular, costing many, many pences, does. Did I mention that the core Endless app is free? Clever Tim. He does make exceedingly good software. To the synths. Et voila. Synthesizers. So blank slate territory, if I start a jam and give it a name, me and all my chums on the internet. Here's the kind of jamming interface where I can enter notes and you'll hear that all of the notes are in scale. You can change the scale here. Maybe we should do B flat Phrygian, aka A sharp Phrygian, Aphexy's favourite scale. So then this is your kind of main interface. You can see we've got 6 choices: drums, notes, bass, the sampler, FX, and a microphone. Microphone in this instance means the audio input to my Elise's hierarch, i.e. me grandmother. I've got all my things going into my mixer and I've got the output of my mixer going into here. Doesn't matter that all of the faders are up. I'm going to play one thing at a time and just sample them into this so I can build arrangements. But let's not start with grandmother. Let's start with something more simple. I will go to drums, the toughened drums, and so what I did there was just play the drums, and the drums are quantized. I can't play off the beat unless I tell it to. There is a J Dilla mode. And by tapping these little loop markers, I am telling Endless to loop 1, 2, 4 or 8 bars worth. You can change that as well, but that's how I like to do it. So I can very quickly get a beat going. I can change the tempo, but it's at 137, which is fine. I can apply effects. Down here, you're seeing this kind of squidgy little buttons. These are telling me these are the channels that I have recorded, because what is interesting is that Endless does not record MIDI, it records audio. So that the parts that I am messing with, I can turn on and off, and they retain their separation as audio until you've filled them up. I don't need to think about anything like this. I just think, done. And now Endless has committed this so that all my drums have been bounced down into one thing and had the squidge applied to them. They are audio now. Maybe a bit of saturator. And then I can reinforce the drums with a bit of main line. Very quick. As soon as you start to learn your way around the different kits, and there are multiple kits, these ones you pay for, you subscribe, but you get, with the free Endless, you get access to these core drums, plus you can record external instruments. So any drum machines you have, you can play them in and use them. And so, playing in, first time. Yeah. Oh. Oh yeah. How about this? Notice what I just did. I recorded the parts when I felt they were right, and I hit loop as soon as I'd finished. I didn't wait to hit loop at the correct exact time, because you don't need to. You can just play when it feels right, and when you've got the right amount of audio in the buffer, you just hit the corresponding loop quantity. Break it down. Let's get some peak. Less bumpers. So you see you can bake in changes. If I play pitch whilst playing the sound, I can bake in the changes. commit that. Oh, nice. Yeah. Nice. So nice. Now let's gate it. Quite a nice piano in here, so back to toughened. Yeah. Any riff without all the extra drums, broken down part. That is endless. And it is endless. Go download the app, it's free. And go and support the Kickstarter. There's a link in the description. I do not get paid if you click that link. It is not a referral link, although it does tell them that I sent you. And I fully intend to send you. Because, as I hope you see, I'm for making music. And this thing is the fastest brain to music interface of pretty much anything I've tried. It's ace. Try it.